That's how my mom makes it.
There's something that tastes this bitter has got to be good for you. Oh! Those childhood foods, they really become comfort foods. This rice pattern you can find in any Chinatown all over the world.
I actually had these chopsticks ready for this moment.
Hi, Jarell. I'm Monica Eng. I am a reporter for Axios Chicago, and I have a food podcast called Chewing with Louisa Chu. Louisa Chu, Monica Eng, Chewing.
My name is Jarell. I go by Jerry, and I run DC's only all-Asian run art studio here in DC. I'm also work at a PR agency called Tremendous Communications, and I'm do video. So this is my studio. We're currently in my studio right now in Washington, DC.
Great to meet you. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my favorite dishes as an adult, but one of my least favorite foods as a kid. I think like every Asian kid I talk to, whether they're Korean or South Asian, Filipino or Chinese or Japanese, they say, oh, when I was young, my grandma used to make me eat bitter melon and I hated it so much. But a lot of them also say, but today I love it. And I'm one of those people. So I don't always make it the way my Chinese relatives would make it, which would be in sort of a black bean sauce with pork. I make it sometimes that way, but my favorite way to eat it is in a Vietnamese style as an omelet. That's what I always order when I go to a Vietnamese restaurant. And I'm going to be serving it with a sauce that I love so much called Nok Cham, which is fish sauce, limes, chili, garlic, and a little sugar. And I find all those flavors together just make everything, especially bitter things, taste fantastic.
I actually love ampalaya. That's bitter melon in Tagalog. I used to hate it as well as a kid, but just recently, I don't know, I think I've just grown to like abuse my body more. Maybe my taste buds with like gnarly flavors, but it's definitely a gnarly flavor and I do enjoy it a lot now. So I haven't made it in a while. This is going to be exciting.
So it does abuse the taste buds, but it's great for the body. There's all sorts of clinical research. Yeah. All sorts of studies are suggesting that it can be great for blood sugar. You know, some people think it's good for your skin. I mean, the studies are still in the early stages. They're also looking at its effects on cancer cells. And you have to figure it's something that tastes this bitter has got to be good, right? So I did not find this at my local Walmart, but it's funny. I've got bitter melon vines growing in the back. I grow both Indian and Chinese bitter melon. So this would be the Chinese one.
Wait, so you grew this?
Well, this one did not come from my garden. This
I was about to say.
It's bitter melon season in Chicago. So of course, everybody and their brothers like, oh, I've got extra. Can I give you some? I'm like, no, I've got them coming out of my ears right now. But I was also in Chinatown in Chicago. And if you can't find something in the summer, you can usually go down the street and then there'll be these proud gardeners who've laid out blankets on the ground and they're selling them. So this lady's like, come on, $6 for 3 of them. I grew this myself. So I was like, okay, so now I've got 6 in there. So I usually start by, of course, washing it and then cutting it in half. And if it's nice and ripe, it starts to turn red. The seeds start to turn red. And I've read in some places that the seeds that they're poisonous, never eat them. And other places, like in Puerto Rico, I'm half Puerto Rican, they say that that's all they eat. They throw away the rest of it and they just eat the seeds. So poisonous or best part of the bitter melon? I don't know. But right now we'll be taking them out. So I cut it in half, then I cut it in half again, longwise. And then I usually just take a spoon and scrape it out. I remember years ago, Rachel Ray had this thing. She's like, gotta have my GB nearby, which means garbage bowl. I call this my CB. It's my compost bowl because I'm going to compost everything that we discard, everything that's compostable. So put this in my compost bowl.
It's so funny because like I used to be in the military and I'm so good at following directions, but I like also am really bad because I never really talk when I'm listening either. Okay, I'm gutted and ready to go.
All right, so now we're gonna want to, I like to stack them on top of each other a little bit, two of them on top of each other, just so I can get extra cutting power. And so we're just gonna want to cut them in about 1/4 inch half rings. Probably, depending on the size of the bitter melon, you're gonna have some rings left over, but then you'll have them in the fridge already salted and rinsed and ready for your next dish.
What other ways do you use bitter melon?
I like to put it sometimes in smoothies, believe it or not, because I like that bitter flavor in smoothies. And then other times I'll have, ground pork and black beans and ginger and garlic and some rice wine, and I'll stir fry it.
Wow, that sounds so good.
How about you? So how would you eat ampalaya?
I would eat it, honestly, in an omelet as well. They also have it in a rice soup, but preferably I would go for an omelet, honestly. That's how my mom makes it. So this is like
That's
really
great.
funny. I brought some banana ketchup as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, again, sort of sweet, salty
Yep.
flavors all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and salt mine. And you don't have to do this step, but for people who find it like way too bitter, this kind of draws some of that out.
Am I like, how salty am I making this? Is it
I
like
would
a salted
say
water
about-
mixture?
No, I would say like maybe 1/4 teaspoon.
And I'm like soaking it in water, and then we're gonna cook it after that.
Well, I would just let it sit in the salt, and then right before we cook it, I would give it a rinse.
Okay.
So,
And you mean like sit in a salt water or sit in salt?
no, just in some salt, and then just
Okay, cool.
just use your hands to get the salt on it. And then while we're waiting for it to get salty, let's make our sauce and let's cut our garlic. So with garlic, you always want to have nice fresh cloves and keep your whole head together until you pull out your clove, because otherwise it really starts going fast. And for this, you can saute it in garlic and oil, or you can just put the garlic in your nok cham sauce. So a lot of people know that, that fish sauce is called nok mam. When it becomes a dipping sauce with other stuff, it's nok cham. So I'm gonna cut this garlic here. Maybe just about 5 slices. So I got my sliced garlic here, and then I'm gonna really mince. You can start by smashing it. Who needs a garlic press? I got a big chef's knife.
Mm.
Okay, so get it nice and small, kind of like you get with a garlic press. And then you want to put that in your little sauce bowl. How you doing on the garlic?
Is minced and pressed.
Okay, so you want to put that garlic in your little sauce bowl.
Okay.
Then you want to either use pepper flakes or serrano or Thai chilies or a jalapeno will do, because you want to get some heat in that sauce. So I think I'm going to go with pepper flakes and a fresh chili.
So you went red chili flakes and Thai chili?
That's just my preference. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't want it that spicy, Monica.
Okay, so then you can move on to your limes.
I got that Walmart lime juice.
Oh, wow.
Check it
Jerry.
out.
So here's my lime juice. Got these limes at Walmart, yeah. Okay, so here's 1 lime. And I hate to say, oh, use 1 lime or 2 limes, because some limes are not juicy at all and some are super duper juicy. So it's sort of like, I don't know, use about 1/4 cup of lime juice. And once you get that much, then stop squeezing your limes. Okay. So see, I think that's a good amount. It's just like however much you want to dip, and you're going to want to dip this omelet because The omelet's going to be bitter and rich, and the acid and the heat and the sugar, they all come together to just like,
Boom.
all
That's
right.
that's like 2.5 limes right there that I just poured out.
Okay, so you're ready with the lime juice. And so do you use much fish sauce? I know that in Filipino cooking, there's fish sauce. There's definitely
Yeah,
some, you got bagoong.
yeah, I love bagoong as well. The nice fermented shrimp paste is just
Yeah, you put that in some
it
fried
is
rice.
so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't experimented with any Filipino sauces yet, like in terms of like how I want to add them into my own dishes. Like when it comes to like cooking food from the homeland, it's always nice because like it's always the first food that I always cook is food that's like what my parents cooked for me and like so I can like remember it. So it's exciting. I was like bagoong is definitely next on my list. That's for sure.
Yeah, I once spilled an entire bottle of fish sauce in the pantry, and my Puerto Rican grandmother, who did not use fish sauce, was not super forgiving about it. Okay, so again, this sauce is really what you want it to be. If you want it to be spicier, you put more chilies. You want it to be more garlicky, you put more garlic. I like to put about a tablespoon of fish sauce in it. And every fish sauce is different. Some will be like super strong and salty. Some will be a lot lighter. So my advice is always, go by these measurements, but taste it yourself. And when it gets to a
I'm
point that you
using
like the flavor,
Japanese fish sauce right now.
I usually use
Yeah.
Vietnamese, but this is a Thai one. I like Three Crabs. I like Red Boat. I like Squid brand. So now I'm also going to add in some sugar. And again, sugar to taste. I like maybe 1 teaspoon of sugar in here. Other times, other Southeast Asian restaurants will make their nook cham like a lot sweeter than I like it. So, ooh, that's salty. Monica, you should have checked to see if this Thai kitchen version was salty. So the salt is all coming from the fish sauce. Some of my Southeast Asian friends just love eating Vietnamese jasmine rice or Thai jasmine rice with fish sauce. It's so good. Ooh, it's really good. I think, I can't believe it, but I think it needs more sugar. So balancing out the flavors on your own is, really important. Okay, so it's got to a point where I really like it. I can't believe I'm adding a little more sugar, but I'm adding a little more sugar to this. I'm going to put it aside. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just kind of breaking down my sauce a little bit.
What does it taste like?
It's nice and salty. I think I want to like bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe some more lime. And actually water.
But it's like
people put water in their.
Yeah, it's like giving me like this like vinegary salty punch though at the same time, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, you can temper it with a little sugar and some water if you want, but the nook cham is what you want it to be. Okay, well, we're also waiting for the salt to draw out some of this bitterness. I would say let's crack our eggs.
So Monica, why did you choose this bitter melon omelet? I know you said you didn't like it growing up.
I'm both a food and health writer. And so I'm always looking for the intersection of delicious and healthy. And this really is one of the best things for you. I feel great when I eat it. It's not just long-term health effects. I feel wonderful when I eat it. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's something where my body's telling me, this is your people's food, and I've really been drawn to bitterness. Arugula, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale. And actually I've talked to and I've interviewed doctors. They said, if you can train your body to like bitterness, it'll help your health in huge ways. Also, a lot of cultures will start the meal with something bitter because it actually activates bile in your body that helps you digest better. It didn't. Yeah. So for health reasons, for flavor reasons, and because it's part of my culture. And when I meet older Chinese relatives, they're like, "Oh, how are your vines going?" And we compare notes, and it's a real connection. Like every Chinese woman I know grows bitter melon. So let's crack our eggs.
That's so funny. It's
Again,
like once you to reach a new level of when you get older and being an Asian OG, you have to like better melon.
Yeah. Or else forget it. You're kicked out of the club.
That's it. You lose your card.
Yeah. Again, these eggs are going to be fantastic for my compost pile. It's so funny because all these old aunties that I was always like, oh, those are the ones that dim sum, and I don't really want to talk to them. Now we're just like, tell me about your compost pile. Tell me about your bitter melon vines. How do you like to cook juk? How do you like to cook bitter melon? Juk being like a kanji, like a rice porridge. I'm 52, but I never thought that I would be like talking like old Asian lady stuff, but I love it. My favorite thing to talk about.
You're like, because my vines are doing great.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm also growing Indian ones. Really? Whoa.
Oh my God.
Okay, I find the best way to whisk eggs is with chopsticks. It just really fluff right up. And I love the way it sounds. I don't know why it works so well, but it does. You don't have to copy me. You could use a whisk or you could use a fork if you want.
I actually had these chopsticks ready for this moment.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rinse these bitter melon rings a little bit. You might want to pat them dry, but I mean, they're gonna be sauteed anyway, so I think they'll be fine. All right, how are you at flipping omelets?
Oh, I am, we were about to see.
Okay. I'm great at it when nobody's watching, but if people are watching, there's a problem. Okay, so let's turn our heat on to about medium. So I'm starting to heat up my pan and I'm gonna put some neutral oil. You can put lard, which adds great flavor, which is something my ancestors would have approved of on both sides. Olive oil has a bit of a strong olive oil flavor, but you could use that. I'm using a neutral grapeseed oil. This is an old pan that I just love, but when they get older, they start to raise in the middle, and that makes it hard to get the oil to stay there. So before it gets too hot, I'm going to put in my garlic because I do not want burned garlic, but also the bitter melon at the same time. Now, one of the reasons, again, I like making this is because I do feel connected to my culture. I feel like I'm connected to my past in ways that that aren't always accessible. You know, a lot of my 90-year-old relatives are gone. And I would encourage everyone, if you have 80-year-old and 90-year-old relatives still alive, sit them down. Everybody's phone has a voice memo app now. If you have plenty of room and storage on your phone, use the video and start asking them questions. What I find is really helpful is bring pictures, bring old pictures and say, auntie, or auntie is what we say, what's going on in this picture? Can you tell me about these people? Who is this? That often really starts things up. Or, you know, how about this food? Do you know how to make it? Did your mom make it? Did you make it growing up? Because I don't know about you, but in some Asian families, people are taught, don't air the dirty laundry. Don't talk about what really happened in our family. Just give this whitewashed version of things to the kids. Mm-hmm. And what I found is the older that my relatives got, the more they're just like, you know what? Let me tell you what really happened. And I've actually gotten some stories. I think it's just so important to understand the past, to understand when your relatives are going to tell you the truth and when they're not, and to embrace that, you know, everything wasn't perfect back then, and that they can safely tell you, because we should all know the truth. We should all understand the struggles and where things came from.
Wow, most definitely.
So, yeah. All right, so I'm smelling the garlic. And I'm going to check to see if these are a little brown on the other side. The worst is to have super burned garlic, because even though I love bitter, I don't like the bitterness of burned garlic. You want to balance these things. Though I do love, is it garlic fried rice? Filipino garlic fried rice? That's like super, that has crispy garlic in it.
Oh, it does. The silog lifestyle, which is like the Filipino breakfast platters. Oh,
yeah.
it's so good. It's so good. I was just in San
Super
Diego
good.
and I had to last week and I had to go and stop by before I came back to DC to get a seafood plate.
Oh, nice. With the longanisa and the egg and.
I was like, I get the fried milkfish seafood. So then that comes with like fried milkfish and then it's like the egg and then the garlic fried rice. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, nice. So I'm starting to turn them just when they even get a little golden on the edges because I don't want this stuff to burn. And you know what? Some restaurants, they'll give you like bitter melon, like beef and bitter melon, that where the bitter melon's like almost totally raw. And okay, I'm not that OG, but I don't need it like super cooked. Some places will give you bitter melon that's like been braised for a long time and there's no flavor left. So we're shooting
the
for
raw is
something right in
like
the middle.
super intense. Nice because it has the bite as well.
Yes. Okay. So this is really smelling great, like garlic, but not burned yet. They're just slightly getting soft.
Yeah, mine needs like, I think I'm like 5 minutes away from you.
Okay. So I'm going to turn down this heat. So tell me, what are some of, so besides, it's pronounced sinigang?
Oh, sinigang?
No, not sinigang, the milkfish and fried rice.
Oh, the silog.
Silog. So besides that, what are some of your favorite childhood dishes?
That's actually a great question because like for me, I personally like making only Filipino dishes, not just only Filipino dishes, but like that's definitely my preference. And I do that because my mom has dementia, and so she never got to like teach me how to cook. And so I always like by memory, it's like what do I remember eating growing up, and then like how do I like make it literally taste exactly what I remember. And so for me, mine's is like sinigang, kare kare, which is like sinigang is like the
like a tamarind soup.
Yeah, it's our sour tamarind soup, which is delicious. I think it's just like such a complex but like super easy soup and stew. And then like kare kare, which is like peanut butter curry.
Oh, so good.
Like
so good.
oxtail on it. I mean, yeah, I love making.
That's like a big hug.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Literally, it is like a big hug. And then I think the things that I really gravitate towards is like all the breakfast foods that my parents used to make. So like a really bad habit that I picked up, thankfully we have air fryers now, is fried chicken in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Because like that's what my parents would do. Instead of like making bacon on like a Saturday morning, it would be fried chicken. And then like the Filipino fried chicken is very different because it has like a different breading. But I mean, yeah, it just reminds me of home. And then when it comes to like showing other people, like for me, I'm a Muslim convert. So like whenever it's like moments of like Ramadan, when we're all fasting, and usually majority of the people are not of Southeast Asian descent. And so majority of my community, it's all South Asian. And so these are those moments where I'm like really proud to like share my culture, especially when it comes to people who, you know, want to celebrate my life and celebrate each other. And then it's all about like educating and showing like where I came from. So it's really exciting. And then being able to modify those diets, because Filipino food naturally is very pork surrounding. It's like it's exciting as well. Yeah. Like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. Crispy pata is a weakness of mine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think back to those days. It's a good time. Still a good time.
Yeah. I really love that one soup. It's like a chicken soup with moringa leaves or malunggay leaves.
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's arroz caldo or chicken tinola.
Yeah, chicken tinola.
Oh, I just had that.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And I grow like moringa too.
Yeah, and I was like, and that's really all the flavoring there is.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, bitterness,
browning.
But so good for you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's starting to brown. Then we are going to want to pour in our egg. Okay.
Okay. You putting yours in?
Yeah, I'm going to put in my egg. All right, here we go. I love, sometimes I will take colorful peppers and do rings of them. And then like, or seeds. So I'll be interspersing like a red sea and a green sea and a yellow sea and a green sea and orange. And it's beautiful. It's like super Insta worthy. But we're gonna stick to bitter melon. So I'm learning the words for it in different languages. So in Hindi, it's Karela. In Mandarin, it's Kugwa. In Cantonese, it's Fukwa. I can't remember how you say it in Japanese, but in Okinawa, they eat a ton of it. And some people say that's one of the reasons they're so healthy. And then ampalaya. So, okay, this is gonna need some time to set. I should have said maybe 2 eggs, because now I'm getting intimidated.
Yeah, I was like, this is a
that,
little thick. Just gotta do the
Oh, boy.
little zhuzh thing over here like this.
Yeah, around the edges. Smart.
But that's also why I mean that's why I love cooking in general, honestly, because of just like sharing my culture and like my identity. Because like it's so tied in with my memories and like what is important to me, which is family for sure. It's like it's like a little story. It's like storytelling. Like it's the art of cooking in general is just so beautiful.
Yeah, and then you can feed people.
Exactly.
Nourish people. Okay. Well, it's still a little soupy on top. They can find a little spot to let it go on the edges. But yeah, I'd say in a smaller pan, you might want to go 2 eggs.
We about to flip this? That's what you
Yeah, it's gonna be on camera.
Okay.
But don't rush it. If it's not set on top, don't rush it. Mine looks like it's ready. Although it is going to probably splash a little bit. Stir this around. Go. It's breaking. That's not good.
It's really funny because my roommate, he doesn't let it set on top. He flips his.
Really?
I was like, wow, that's the
Okay.
chaotic energy that we need.
Oh, it could not have gone worse. No. Okay.
Not the bitter melon.
Great. Yeah, of course. I swear it totally worked out the other day. Wow. Look.
Oh man, I'm scared now, Monica.
No, I mean it'll totally work for you. I don't know what. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine for you. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. I'm getting the tongs. Pretend no one saw that. That was not on camera at all. We've got the Instagram with this one. Okay, I'm waiting. Oh, man. Well, you know what? We've done this, so nobody feels bad about when they do theirs. In fact, they'll feel really good about themselves.
Okay.
But you
wow,
know what?
that was
good.
Good.
It all goes to the same place.
That was good. I'm not mad at that. It looked like a. It looked like a. I mean, it's a almost done omelet. That's for sure.
I made 2 of these in the last 2 days, and perfect flip. I swear, I'm not lying. Okay, so I don't like my eggs to get too overcooked, so I would actually take it out fairly soon. So I'm gonna get a plate. My family was in the Chinese restaurant business since about 1911. And our last 2 restaurants closed in the 80s. And my cousins still had all these plates left over from Jackson, China. That was the company that made them. So we've all got, like my whole family's like, hey, let's take out the Ho King Lo plates. I love using them.
I have these cute black ones.
Yeah. Oh, those are nice. These, you can get these, you know, this rice pattern you can find in any Chinatown all over the world. When I was in Cuba and I went to a store, a Chinese store, they were selling this. And I love it. It's just, you can get bowls, you know, you'll find them in all Chinatowns everywhere. I just think they're so pretty. And it's like, they call it a rice pattern because it looks like they push bits of rice. And they often have dragons, but okay. So
thank you. I actually didn't know that, first of all. So thank you. I love the little quick fact.
There you go. Okay, so this usually looks a lot more gorgeous, but it's going to taste great. So how's your rice doing?
Rice is, let's open it up. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, she's looking nice. It's like perfectly not soggy on top. If you love rice, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. So, it's funny. I lived in England. I did my junior year abroad in England. And if I'd ever suggest, oh, let's boil our water on top of the stove, they're like, are you kidding? Everybody has a kettle. Why would anybody boil water on top of the stove? And then Asians these days, if you ever like make your rice in a pot, they'd be like, you don't have a rice cooker? I mean, I know how to make rice on top of a stove because that's what we grew up doing. But but this is also my like fake Instapot. And it has been so great during the pandemic because I can take beans and lentils and everything and then just cook them right away, or do like stews, like, the kare kare. You could really make those oxtails get nice and tender really quickly in this. So we're gonna plate this in the best way we know how. We've got the beautiful, could have been beautiful, but will still be beautiful to eat omelet. I'm gonna grab some more chopsticks.
Oh my God, this is a lot of omelet. This is a huge omelet.
A 3-egg omelet. No milkfish, but
I know, right? Don't say milkfish. I'm gonna be craving that. I have to drive like 40 minutes for some milkfish.
ooh, I like going to Seafood City and getting fresh fish there, but also they've got a Jollibee there. They've got a Crispy Town. They've got all these different booths. It's the big Filipino supermarket in Chicago.
What's
Okay.
up?
Here's-
Shout out to Walmart.
so
Yours looks so
mine.
nice. I need that. I need my cutting board.
So yeah, I think as we get older, those childhood foods that we used to say to our brothers and sisters, gross, I can't believe they're making us eat it. They really become comfort foods, and they become foods that make us want to reconnect with our heritage and our youth. And you know what? And they were our families wanting to keep us healthy and wanting to survive and wanting to eat what's around. And this time of year, believe me, you go in my backyard, you know what's around? Bitter melon. You can also preserve it, though. You can pickle it, which I do too. So you wanna give it a try? Okay, so here we go.
Just blowing it. Okay, that bitterness is going hard right now, but I'm not mad at it.
Really? I can hardly taste the bitterness.
What?
Maybe just
That's your.
I think that's
You're
the
like, I
thing.
can't taste it at all.
Well, you're young, Jarell, and
It's
actually
true.
younger people, their taste buds are more acute. I used to always get mad when my kids would be like, that tastes bad, that's too spicy, that's too bitter. But then the doctor told me actually their taste buds are more acute, especially to those flavors.
I gotta
Wow.
try this with the banana ketchup too. I love this sauce.
Yeah, it's so good on everything. I was working at the Chicago Tribune. I had a friend, Fat Chem, who moved to LA. Can't remember what he did. Anyway, he went over to his house and he said, okay, Monica, you're making the Nook Chum. Made it for the first time and I never looked back.
Oh wow.
I said, I want this on everything. How's the banana ketchup?
Okay, there you go. That's my childhood right there in one bite.
All right. Well,
Oh my God.
thank you for joining me in making this.
Monica, thank you. I had fun looking. First of all, I had fun looking for the bitter melon in Washington, D.C. That was a nice venture. And
Where'd
then I
you
had a
find
great
it?
time. I had it at Hannah Market. It's a Japanese market off of 14th Avenue off of U Street. And it's like it's definitely like a staple Asian market in Washington, D.C. So I'm glad they had it. This is the last one. I had a great time making it with you as well. So thank you.
Same here. Oh boy, you're eating with as much gusto as I am.
That's what I feel like, but I'm enjoying it too much.
So Jarell, you went to Hana Market for the bitter melon. Were you able to find everything else at Walmart? I mean, and was there anything you were surprised I had? I was surprised to find this. And I was at a small one in the Lincoln Park neighborhood of Chicago. So it was one of the smaller versions in a, dense urban neighborhood. I was asking the clerk, do you have fish sauce? Oh, I think we do. And then we looked and looked and looked. So I guess we don't. And they said, no, I found it. Look, I grabbed it. So I was happy.